I was reflecting a while ago. We were talking a little bit off camera, and I was reflecting on this story, and I want to get your feedback on this. So I was at, in Ghana we say the barbering shop, but I was at the barber shop. I was at the barber shop, and I heard this lady's accent, so I knew, right, at least she lived in America, Canada, or something. So I went up to her, said, "Are you from America?" Yes. We talked a little bit. We exchanged information. So her and her husband were here for like 3 months. And they were on like a Ghana trial period to find out whether or not they can live in Ghana. And I remember I was actually surprised that, she called and she said, "Hey," and she just needed help with like, how do I get around? Like, how do I catch an Uber or this or that? And after 3 months, she had like a going away situation. And it was at one of the nice like hotels on Oxford Street. So very nice place where like the water is 40 cedis.
Yes.
Right? And that was years ago.
Yes.
So now it'll probably be like
120.
60. Yes, 120. So I remember her saying explicitly, she's inviting everybody she's met, Ghanaians, Nigerians, Americans, whatever, to see them off. She said, if like you see something and you want to eat something, you have to pay.
Yeah.
So don't feel obliged to eat anything, right? Because the food was kind of expensive.
Yes.
When the night ended, she said something to me that stood out because of an experience. I'll get to the experience. She said, "I came here, and when I first got to Ghana, I was in search of my people.
Yeah.
When I left, I realized
they're not my people.
These ain't my people." One of the catalysts of her thinking like that was she invited 2 guys, Ghanaians or younger guys. Now, for context, they were a little older in terms of the couple. Maybe like 50s or 60s. These were younger guys, maybe like 20s. She told everybody, if you come and eat,
you have to pay.
You have to pay. They came all.
They ate all.
They ordered food. They ate. Hello, bye-bye.
Bye.
And they didn't even mention the bill. And I remember her like whispering to me when they left, "You see, this is one of the reasons why I can't trust these Ghanaians." When you hear a story like that, what goes through your mind when you hear a story like that?
When I hear a story like this, I understand it. I understand it from her perspective, and I understand it from their perspective. And I'll share my experience and then continue. I remember one of the first groups that I worked with were not from here. And there was one time, one of these pizza joints was having a promo, Tuesday, buy one, get one free pizza thing. And then they walk up to my office and say, "Hey, do you want to buy a pizza? Like, do you want a pizza? These guys are doing this thing and buy one, get one free. So we are buying pizza. Do you want some?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want pizza." No one asked me if I wanted to pay for pizza. They said, "Do I want pizza?" I did want pizza. Pizza came in. I ate some. And then I was being asked for money. And I felt so cheated. I'm like, if you wanted to buy your pizza and buy one, get one free, why didn't you tell me that? So that I would know I was going to pay for it. But it was such an assumption on their part. It was such a given. It took me a while to realize if they had told any of their friends who are also from the US, it would have been so well understood. Do you want pizza? These guys have this thing. I'm getting pizza. Do you want some? They would have understood. I didn't, because if I had gone to them with that same question, it would have been because, listen, I'm buying this pizza and I'm getting an extra box and so I can share. So with that in mind, I understand the woman, but I also understand the guys. In Ghana, you don't throw a party if you can't feed everyone. Why are you inviting me to come to your party so that I can pay? Like, what kind of invitation is this?
So that's common. Like if I'm throwing
then
a party,
you have to say it in no uncertain terms, because it's not common. That BYOB thing, it's new, it's foreign. And the thing is, we come as Ghanaians, and I think from many places on the continent, hospitality is such that even if I don't tell you I'm coming to your home and I come and you're eating, you have to invite me and be ready to serve me. This is where we've come from. Things have changed. Food is more expensive. We don't have our own farms. So most likely, if I come into your home and you say, "Oh, yeah, you know that you're invited thing," can be so problematic
I
for foreigners.
I have a story about it.
So this is where we are coming from. Very hospitable. And you're inviting me to your party that I should come. Okay, so if I can't pay for the food, I should sit and watch you eat. What am I doing at your party?
So it's really it's the culture that contexts those things.
Yes.
And it really makes me think about, right, like relationship, like how do we form relationships, and then how do we bring our own, you know, experiences and culture and bias, as we talk about many times on this platform. A lot of folks who are coming from the African diaspora who've never lived in a all black place, the first and foremost thing that binds you is the fact that you're black. In fact, in the States, we have this thing to where we have these kind of unwritten black kind of norms, like black codes. So it's not written, but it's unwritten. And if you violate one, you get treated a certain way. And one of them is, if you're black and you are in a non-black space and you see another black person, it is an unwritten code that you at least acknowledge them with the, like,
I see you.
Yes. So if you see another black person in a non-black space and you don't at least, even if it's it doesn't matter. Gay, it doesn't matter. If you don't at least do then it's like, what kind of black person are you? Yeah. So it really makes me think about like how do we form those relationships? So for them, maybe coming from this context where it's like, how do you throw a party?
Yeah.
And not pay for everybody.
Exactly.
They're coming from a context where it's kind of the BYOB,
yes, right?
Bring your own whatever. Then it can be very different, you know. And you know, in fact, I remember your invited thing.
Yes.
Right. So you know, when you're about to eat, you invite the person. You're invited, right? For a person who's never, you know, been to Ghana. I remember I never was exposed to this. We don't do that. I remember being at a restaurant. And first and foremost, typically in the States, you know, you have your own personal space. That's a Western thing, right? You're way over there. So typically, if you have a table, even if it sits 4 people, no one will come to your table. But in Ghana, it's not like that. So I remember I was sitting down and there was a woman who came and she had I just remember, Charlie, it was a lot of rice and chicken. And she said, "You're invited." I said, "Oh, thank you." So I started eating. And I didn't realize the look that she was giving me was like, that's not, I was invited, but I wasn't really invited. So, but she didn't say anything, but I'm sure she was like,
is he okay?
Because I was like, "Oh, thank you." And I just started eating. Oh.
Wow.
But, you know, so it's culture. So like even when I first got to, oh my God, developing relationships was difficult. Like it was really difficult. It was very difficult. But for you, like you talk about like your Pan-Africanism and things like this, like you've worked with a lot of different kind of people. What have you seen? Like, do you see like a lot of your friends, are they mostly like, are the Ghanaians with Ghanaians? Are the people from the UK with the people from the UK, the Nigerians with Nigerians?
And we're talking about romantic relationships.
Romantic or just like friendships?
Yeah.
Like what do you see? Are people really like connecting like with different cultures, or do you see something different?
First, to answer the question of how do we build these relationships, I think we have to understand there's no right or wrong culture. Like my culture, I don't think is better than your culture from where you're coming from. And if I can make room for that, then I can then see what you do and not judge it and understand it. But if I'm feeling like, how won't he pay? Is he like, you're coming to eat my food for free? You're judging my culture already. Yours isn't better, by the way, because I can also be like, this person is such a stingy person. You come from a place of scarcity. You can't even share. And then there's no meeting place. So if I start to look at your culture from a place of curiosity, then we can build the bridges that need to be built for us to be able to build any type of relationship. I have to admit, though, that the stereotypes will be at play. Many people will see you and hear you speak and see money. It's a stereotype. He's African American, he has money. So if he about to date, I remember there's a story of someone I know, British Ghanaian guy, dating a Ghanaian girl. Guy was broke. Girl says she went to visit him, and she thought it was one of those movies where the guy is pretending, you know, those rich man's son?
Yes.
Rich man's son pretending to be poor so that he'll find the right wife and then take them to a mansion. So she says she went to visit him. There was nothing.
There was no mansion.
There was nothing in the room. And she still thought, oh, I'm being tested, you know. Eventually, he will show me the money. This guy is British. There's money. And then at some point she realized, my God, he's actually broke.
So what did she
Broke
do?
and British. They're married.
Broke and British. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. They're married.
Oh,
So
they're married.
the
Thank God.
stereotypes will exist. And I don't think it's useful to fight these things. They come from a certain place, the stereotypes, but to see them and interrogate them. So if, for example, you met a Ghanaian, if you weren't married and you had met a Ghanaian, another example, a friend of mine, Turkish guy, was dating a lady from Ghana. And he was telling me how he wanted to marry her. I think he hadn't gone to see the family. And now he wanted to go and see the family. And the lady was saying, no, I'm not taking you there. Where I come from, when they see you, it's just money they are seeing. Like, I'm going to have problems that I'm dating a white man. All my family members will need something or the other. Right? These are stereotypes that they exist, and there's no point trying to fight them and pretend they don't exist. But then how do we go beyond these stereotypes so that we can actually build? And we cannot build if we are not vulnerable with each other, and if we don't share.
But are they only stereotypes? Or are some of them rooted in some truths?
I think all stereotypes often are rooted in truths. I don't think stereotypes build from a vacuum. I do not think so.
And, you know, I love the way you're speaking, but just a little pushback. You are, again, we use the word anomaly. You're not the normal person.
Right.
Who, unfortunately, your perspective is not normal in a good way.
Right.
But the average people, challenging stereotypes. Massa, I'm hungry.
Yes.
I don't have time for psychological evaluations.
Yes.
I want to eat.
Yes.
And the truth is, I'm looking at the guy's phone. It's an iPhone, whatever. It's worth more than my whole salary. So I think, I think really what I'm getting at is, as we talk about really building these relationships, whether it's, you know, intimate relationships or just, you know, genuine friendships, there's a level of like those cultures that come in and make it difficult. When I first came to Ghana, I got to a place where I was literally paranoid. Like, I'm not even joking. And because I've been traveling back and forth for a long time before we actually settled here. But the community that we first lived in, I think, you know, it was the type of community where the cows will come and just defecate in front of your house neighborhood. It's one of those neighborhoods, you know, everybody is everybody. And I remember just regardless of what I felt and what I thought of myself, we were the Obrunis. We were the nice Obrunis, but yet we were the Obrunis, to the point to where, you know, people came and stole from us. Not because it was like we invited someone in the house, no, like jumping over our fence, and because the thought was just like,
you represent money.
Yeah, and these people, you have it. If I take this small thing from you, it won't do anything. But I mean, that's an extreme case, but let me say, just even in terms of like developing healthy relationships, like with other guys, that has been, like, honest to God, in Ghana, that has been one of the most difficult things for me. My wife is different because we have different personalities. Number one, she's more sociable than I am. I admit that. But I would say for me, it's because a lot of times, if you're coming from, let me say, the West, you're not coming to suffer, right? So you're coming at a certain level socially. And this is a stereotype, okay? Let me say that sometimes, not all, not most, not many, but some guys who are of a certain social class in Ghana, hey, the way they behave, let me just say, is different than the lifestyle that I want to have.
Right.
What they're looking for, who they're looking for, not all, not most, not many, how they treat people, sometimes it's a little bit different than the way I want to move. And then sometimes when you meet the guys that are Christian, hey, Jesus. not everyone.
Yes.
But sometimes they're like, the Christianity that they have is so like, hey, Jesus, it's too much.
What's the word?
I don't know what's the word? I don't know the word. It's just like, it's too much.
It's too much Christianity.
It's too much Christianity.
Right.
And the thing is, it's not really too much Christianity. It's really just like...
hypocritical.
It's like surface level.
Yes.
Because I had one guy tell me one time, like, I don't take wine. But me, I love palm wine. I said,
Because palm wine is not alcoholic. The fresh one, maybe.
But the one he was taking,
it was fermented.
Is the real one.
But there's no label. So now he doesn't know whether it's 16% or 40%. Or
But it doesn't take wine.
Yes.
Masa,
yes.
I beg. The way you are walking right now, you've been drinking something, the palm wine. But it's just that idea of like, sometimes it's so superficial. And, because where I come from, like socioeconomics also play a part too. Like if I were to meet guys, like some of the relationships I've developed recently in my adult years, I think developing relationships as an adult for me has been difficult. It's my personality too. But one of the reasons is because like if I connect with a guy, then I'm like, yo, let's go to this place. And typically you hang around people who have the same income level as you, the same values and those things. But in Ghana, right, it was a little bit different because, hey, Chale, everybody has an uncle who has died.
Right.
7 times already.
Right.
The same guy.
Right.
Hey, the same man from your village has died again.
Yes.
So in other words, there's always, not always,
it's
but
the
there's
stereotypes.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah, it's the
you
stereotypes.
represent money, you represent opportunity, you represent the opportunity for someone to travel, right? To even make them look cool. And I get all of that.
And I told someone, listen, if I was really a crook or a criminal and I wanted to start a visa business, Charlie,
you'd make a lot of money.
I'll chop all of your money.
You would. Yes, you would.
Because anytime they hear you're American, can you give me visa?
Green card, yes.
And I'm like, I don't know. Can you help me get there?
Yes.
And if I was thinking like a real like
crook.
Yes.
Yes.
I can help you. Don't worry. And I'll just take all of your money.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess the question is, how do we build real relationships, right? Across you, African American, Ghanaian. So I guess we can use our friendship.
I was going to ask you, yes. So how did you...
how did this even happen?
I don't know. How did we meet?
You were
was the interview.
Our customer. Yes, you were our customer. So I was aware of you as our customer.
Okay.
I don't think we had even met in person.
Okay.
Had we?
No, we met because I was supposed to... No, I remember.
Okay.
I remember seeing the brand somewhere.
Yes.
And I saw a shirt and I was like, Kweku.
Yes.
Kweku Yes, I did the interview with Kweku.
Yes.
And I saw his shirt. And the whole time I'm talking to him, I'm like,
what's this?
Where did you get this? And he said, We're Ghana. And then I went online, I researched. And then when I read more about you all, the like Love Africa, I was like, oh my God, this is like amazing. And I was chasing you guys for a while for an interview.
I see.
And then when I finally came, I was supposed to meet with your other
Co-founder,
founder.
yes.
But you were there.
Yes.
And I think
for that interview. That was the first time I was meeting you.
Yes, so that was the first time we met.
I think the reason our friendship could build was we had an interview which allowed me to see you.
Yes.
And hear your thoughts and the essence of who you are. And that removed, and that's where I'm going. Like, the stereotypes will be there.
But then how do you see me?
Right now?
How do you see me right now on this day?
Okay, so let me describe you. Tim, for me, is a very bold person. I mean, you walked from Salaga to Cape Coast. Elmina. Like, Tim wants to do something, he will get it done. Tim is a serious person. He's a soldier at heart. Tim absolutely loves Africa. Tim is such a Christian. But in you, I find a Christian who is questioning, who allows the space to question Christianity and explore. It's not like, it's in the Bible, that is it, don't, like the word of the Lord and full stop, right? I've seen you father. So a very interesting relationship with your son, where there's always that banter going on. Yeah, I'll be
It's true.
Tim the father. So I've seen so many layers of you. And it's whole. But if I saw you walk through the door right now, first time, with that accent, I do not know you. The most striking thing about you would be, he's not from here.
So what would go through your mind?
What would go through my mind depending on what's going on? So for example, if we were at a networking thing and you came up and we were talking, or I walked up to you and we're talking, if I'm being honest with myself,
Yes.
you are not one of us. This is honest.
Yes.
You are from somewhere else in the beginning. So I'd be very careful. Like, because for me, I know that a lot of the times people travel into the country and everyone from here is poor to them. Everyone is looking for a green card. Everyone is looking for opportunity. So I'd be so careful. I wouldn't ask you for any type of help, because for me, I'm like, I am more than enough. And I need to let you know that. Right?
Hey,
yes.
This is the types of conversations we need to be having.
Yes. But yes, it would take some time for me to see beyond the fact that you're not from here. So everything you say out here from that's lens of, yes, but he's not from here. Now I imagine, if I've never dated anyone who is not Ghanaian, so I don't have enough experience with that. But I'm imagining if I met someone and I was going to date them and they weren't from here, that's another layer we must cross. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, definitely cross. Like, what does that even mean? What does dating mean for him? Like, why? Does he think that I want a visa? Like,
if you met me here, would your response be different than if you met me, let me say, at a networking event in the UK?
Yes. You know why? You look more like me in the UK than many other people that I'd be meeting. So I'd be so happy to meet you at a networking event in the UK. And I'd feel, you see how human beings are, we are such a complex.
So I remember one day I was in my hometown. No, it's not my hometown. My hometown is Texas. But I was in the city I used to live in, and I was walking into a coffee shop, and I heard the guy's accent. Or maybe I was on the phone talking with someone. I was like, said Charlie or something. I don't remember. But I remember he said, where are you from? I just said, I'm from Ghana. It was easiest. And the guy just got up and hugged me. Hey, he said, my African brother. I didn't know the guy. He said, hey. And so I can imagine it's the same thing that you said. Like, you feel like a foreigner in a...
Exactly.
No, you don't. You are a foreigner.
I am a foreigner.
You know, and you're... I'm so glad you mentioned, like, there would be that level of timidity and, like, I don't know this person.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think about when I first met you.
I don't even know if it's timidity, Tim.
Maybe
it's
just
the level of...
I think it's reasonable caution.
It's caution.
Yes,
that's the word.
It's reasonable caution.
Yes.
And I'm thinking back to when I first met you.
Yes.
I first of all, I fell in love with the brand.
Yes.
And then when I heard you speak, I said, Charlie, this woman, she loves Africa. And it made me think about, wow, I haven't met too many other Ghanaians who, because you can tell when you talk, it's not just you've read some PhD dissertations and you are regurgitating something for your study. No, like this is in you. But then there was another piece. Where, okay, we're being honest, right?
We have been straight.
There's another piece where it's like, I hope that we can be friends.
Yes.
Because it's like she seems like a really cool person I can connect with. But then there was that fear of like, but am I still just the American of like, like she's gonna just keep her distance? Like, no. Because like, oh, like she's a Christian. She loves Africa. She's an entrepreneur. And you can tell that, Charlie, she doesn't play all.
No time to waste.
Hey, you could, Charlie, the way I've seen you talk to some guys. Hey, I'm like, hey, Charlie, wow.
Really?
Oh, yes. It's like, wow, she's serious. But then there was that thought of like, okay, but it's my own insecurity of like, the way you mentioned, you're not one of us. But that doesn't mean that you cannot be accepted and embraced.
No.
And I think I've heard that, so many people, I've done interviews with so many people, and they always ask me this question: do you fit in? Are you accepted?
Mm.
And I've had to say, like, not really, but being different doesn't mean, listen, there's different types of Ghanaians.
Absolutely.
So when you meet the boga that's coming,
Yes,
and he talks a certain way, Charlie, that's the boga. He's been in this place,
Yes.
that place. He's not one of us.
yes,
Or even, let's say, for example, one of the people when I first started bringing people to Ghana, he was, I think, from the time of 10, he was in the U.S. So when he came back, he had the American accent. He didn't really speak the tree like so
Yes.
well. So everyone was. So he would say, like, I feel like I don't fit in.
right.
When I come to Ghana, I'm not Ghanaian enough.
Yes.
When I go to the States, I'm not black, because all my friends used to just really harass. Well, they weren't
Yeah.
friends, but they used to harass him. And I understand, because unfortunately I was one of those people.
We used to harass him.
Oh, yeah. I was.
You know what I'm just thinking about right now is, why do we want to fit in, especially with strangers?
Because
I'm just asking myself this while you're talking. Like, if I'm walking on the streets of New York, why should I care if strangers do not think that I am one of them? Shouldn't I be more concerned if the people in my circle do not accept me? So I'm just like, while we are talking, because I'm like I said, I met you, the way you spoke, you're different.
Yeah, you're different, and that stands out. Just like
So
if
that's
you're,
a curiosity. Like,
Yes.
if you had walked in with a big headgear, it's still like, who is that guy?
it's just you stand out. You're different.
Exactly. And it's after I've come to know you that I make the decision of, is he my people or not? So as humans, I'm just asking myself. And I know that there are places where not fitting in has consequences, like getting shot.
So that's the thing
Yes.
that I think exists for a lot of folks who are coming from the States. And one of the most brilliant illustrations or like metaphors I've heard comes from, he's a professor that is just he's one of those enlightened individuals, and he talks about Sankofa.
Yes.
And he looks at, right, the bird that's reaching back to pick an egg, right, to go back and fetch it. But he mentioned that, unfortunately, so I can understand the Black American experience, because he said that the egg represents a piece of history that you can reclaim. And he said that, this is the Ghanaian professor, by the way, who said that, but for the African American, it's not normal for a bird to reach back like that.
Yeah.
Right? So he talked about the pain of trying to reach back and fetch something that's not there.
Right.
So when a lot of African Americans come to Ghana and they see you, and especially someone like you with your natural hair, they assume, like, that's my sister. Like, I just want to show you some love, you natural hair, and this and this and this. But then there's a piece of, when you accept me, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but there's the idea that when you accept me, I've been accepted by home.
Yes.
So when I see you and you don't accept me,
That's pain.
I didn't feel like I belong there.
Yeah.
And this makes me feel like I don't belong here. So
now
there's where do I fit?
Yes.
And you're like a kind of like a cultural bastard. You have no home. Like, it's and that's a real pain that exists.
I can only imagine.
I mean, think about this. Let me ask you a question. Like, about approximately how many generations can you go back? Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. Like, how many generations?
For me, it's not enough. So I know my mother, my father, and I know my mother's mother. I met her as a baby. She died before I grew up. I never met my mother's father. I never met my father's parents. But I know the stories of them. So at least I know of their existence. So that's how far I can go.
When you look at the average person in America, regardless of color, 1 out of 3 children are born in a single parent home. I had this moment when I was reading the scriptures. And you know how in the Gospels, it goes to the 42 generations of Christ. 42 generations. Think about how you contextualize yourself.
Yes.
When you can go back 42 generations. I would guess that the average African American, maybe 2. Parents, grandparents, that's it. So you literally have no history of yourself. So now you come, I see this woman who looks like me, hair is this and this and this. You look like whatever. And then you don't accept me. A lot of people won't admit this, but it crushes.
Yeah,
it's crushing to their soul.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
So for me, I found that, number one, that's why for me, like, my blackness is not the highest level of who I am. It's who God has created me to be. And because of who God has created me to be, I have a foundation that learns how to live in the spaces in which I exist. And it's almost like, I mean, it's a privilege, to be able to live in these spaces. But the truth is, I think for a lot of people, it really it's difficult. And that's why you see people who come to Ghana who, let me say, I can speak for the African-American experience, that a lot of times you just you do your own thing. You kind of go to your own community.
Yeah.
And you just, you stay by yourself.
But it goes both ways, doesn't it? Because on one hand, you're looking for acceptance from here, but then you come into it and realize, I don't even like this place. I don't even like the way, look at how he's eating with his hands. Look at how he's talking. He sounds like Kunta. Oh, this guy, what is this, right? And it's almost like, I think that maybe, I'm looking for what I really want to say, but maybe what we should be looking for is not acceptance of who I am as Awura Abena. It's more, if there's a general understanding of, this is actually someone who comes from this is my family member, really. If we go back many, many generations, this is home for you, and I accept that and I respect that. But now I need to make a decision about, but do I like Tim as a person? Do I want him around me? But that in general, Tim is black. This is home for him too. You're welcome. But don't expect me to be your friend because you're black. Why? Friendship is serious business. Come on. Not because you're black, but I understand.
I understand
you. Come from here.
Yes, I understand you.
And for me, that's when I see African Americans, I know I don't understand fully what the experience is, but I have so much empathy for, I feel like we all use something. Many generations down the line, most likely my grandmother or grandfather played a part in sending your grandparents somewhere. So I feel like we all use something and we send you off, and this place becomes what it is, a place that's associated with poverty and all of that. And now when you come, I want to take your dollars. What's wrong with me?
Wow.
Like, what's wrong with me? Right? So I have that empathy, but it's the general thing. It's not you, Tim. It's
you listen. You are providing so much perspective that people don't get. You said, "Listen, I need to you're black, you're home."
Yes,
but I don't need to be your friend just because you're black.
No,
and that's common sense.
Yeah,
but that's an assumption that we have that. I think it's an assumption that we all have the same shared experience.
No, we don't.
And I used to work at the university. My background is higher education, and I remember, because I used to work doing career counseling, so I see the names, and definitely you can tell where people are from based on the names. So I definitely will recognize the Nigerian names. They would fill the whole page.
Yes.
So shout out to Nigeria. But I remember some of the students, particularly my West African students, when I would ask them where are they from, they would say, I'm from America. And some of them would go to the point to where they would try to hide where they're from. One guy I remember, I heard his accent. And by this time I had been going back and forth to Ghana. So my desire was just connection, And I asked him where he's from. It's it doesn't matter where I'm from. You can clearly, I didn't know exactly where the accent was from, but I was picking maybe West Africa. I didn't know which country though, because you can hear it. But there's some American that has been mixed in. He said, it doesn't matter. I said, hey, wow. I was just, I lived in this place. I was just trying to connect. He's I feel like we should be judged not by where we're from, and I can tell he's been in America long enough to where he's got all of the, this is maybe the first time in his life where now being from Africa it's negative. And people have probably asked him all of the questions. You're from Africa. Did you wear clothes? Do you see lions? And he probably just got tired and said, you know what? I don't want people to judge me based on that. And I think that, you know, as you mentioned, we talked about the context that you're in depends on sometimes how you see somebody. But even when I was working at the university, some of the students that I built relationships with, I had to intentionally reach out because I knew, especially the West African students, I knew that if chances are, if they were raised in the States and if they went to like a general public school, you have to pray
Bruised.
for them. It was rough.
Yes.
It was rough, especially if they're very dark. Hey, it was rough.
Kunta. They'll be kuntalized.
Oh, so we used to. I mean, it's terrible. I don't even know where this came from, but you know the phrase of African booty scratcher. You ever heard this phrase?
You told me.
Yes.
You mentioned it
I don't know where it came from, but I think it came from some of the old images that we were shown of like someone with a spear scratching his bum.
God.
You know, who that? You know.
That's just plain horrible.
So when you grow up, when you grew up in the States, more than likely, I can understand why. I'm not going to mention any names, but I've had some friends that they literally decided that they would not be like connected to the Black community because their first expression was they went to the States, they saw other Black kids. I'm one of you, and those Black kids. I mean, you have to forgive them because they're kids, right?
Yeah.
But they were brutal.
Yeah.
Where you from? You from Africa? Man, you'll get your Black. And so that caused a lot of trauma for them. And I know there's some folks who's watching this, and I'm bringing back some bad memories for you all. So like subconsciously, they went towards other communities.
Right.
Because they said, if people who look like me treat me like this, I don't need to be around this.
Yeah.
So they went
That's
towards...
more painful.
Yeah.
The rejection that comes from not being accepted by people who look like you, that'll be more painful than if someone who didn't look like you
And it was explicit rejection for some of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I remember, unfortunately, being one of those people. But it was just, again, it's not like I had an auntie or uncle who told me stories about Ghana. I had nobody. It's not like there was no memories, fond memories created that I can draw back on. So now when I meet this person, unlike my son who, you know, who's most of his life is in Ghana, so his whole context is different. So, I mean, it's just interesting. But the thing is, you know, as we talk about building those relationships, you mentioned like one of the things we have to do is like remove some of those like stereotypes. But in reality, is it really possible?
I mean, but be curious.
What does that curiosity look like?
It's that, so Tim is African American. Oh, but, and then what? What else? What does he like? What's he really like? What does he think about? Oh, so Tim loves Africa, but why? What's he doing here? What brought him here? And the more I can know of you, the less important it is that you're African American. Because now that's not the first thing that even comes to my mind. It's about who you really are, because now I have more. And if I don't come into it with that curiosity to listen, to learn, and all I can see is the place that you came from. And not money. Anyways, I think being exposed also makes you realize there's a lot of poverty everywhere else also. Poverty is not something we own the copyright to here. Spread across.
Owns the copyright to
It's spread. And even if you had money, so what? There are rich Ghanaians here. Is your money mine? No. So why is your money mine? Right? But I think that the how of building the relationships is, number one, there's a stereotype. I don't fight the stereotypes. I think it comes from somewhere. Stereotypes do not build from a vacuum. But outside of that, the curiosity of who is this person? But for me, like I say, the fact that you're Black doesn't mean you're my friend. The fact that someone is Ghanaian doesn't mean they are my friend. The fact that someone can even be fancy, that's the tribe that I come from, they are not my friend. They are fancy. That's it. We need more layers before we can form friendships and relationships. Does that mean that I do not think that we should treat each other right? No, we should, because you're human, right?
So then let's go to a personal question.
Yes.
Think about maybe new friendships that you've developed, maybe in the past 5 years. If you have developed any new friendships in the past 5 years, Or not names, but what is the profile of those people?
The first person that jumped to me was
Or maybe just not any
jumped
names,
at
but
me.
like,
Yeah, no, was this lady that I met, and I met her in the space, the complex that our shop is in. I had gone to the property manager's office. We were having a conversation about politics and NDC and NPP. And for the non-Ghanaians watching, these are the two big parties, and in my opinion, who have done Ghana no favors. And we're having a conversation. This one, yeah, but this one is better than this one, and this one. I'm like, guys, these guys are one and the same. And she walks in, tall lady, like huge presence that she has. And as she's talking, I realize, so at some point we're high-fiving each other. We are strangers. I'm like, exactly, that's what. And then as we've started to talk more and hang out more, I realized, oh wow, this is my soul sister, man. We are passionate about Africa in the same way. We are all interrogating our faith and finding our purpose. And it's such a wholesome friendship. And in my opinion, the friendships that I'm choosing right now are better because I know myself more. I know I have a better idea of what I think my purpose here on earth is. And so when I find someone who's walking in the direction that I'm walking in, then I'm choosing them because we can go in that direction together.
do you have levels?
Of friendships.
So like, and yes, so and at those deepest levels where it's like, you just feel like I can be myself with this person.
Yes.
My question is, do you have people? What are those deepest levels friendships?
I'll tell you something very honest. Recently, I was listening to this thing about entrepreneurship. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I'm about to say it. And people were talking about how it's so difficult to manage like your team. And that's the part that will drive you nuts. I know this for sure. It's the most difficult part of this because human beings are very complex. And I was just telling myself, I think as entrepreneurs, we just have to accept the fact our employees are not our friends. You can love them to bits, but remember, they are not your friends. Because if you get it twisted, you will be hurt in a way that is so difficult to heal from. Because you're expecting friendship from a place you shouldn't have. I've heard certain parents also say, my children are my children, they're not my friends.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not where I have to go and build my friendship.
That's true.
So otherwise, I'll burden them. Like if I start to share certain things with my team, I'm overburdening them. If I'm sad and I'm expecting my team to come and sit and, like, for example, imagine I have a broken, heartbreak relationship and my employee is the one that I've taken that thing to. Like, what kind of burden is this?
Yes.
And it is painful because you see, I love some of my employees so much. They feel like, so what I told myself is, I'm like, she's my sister, but she's not my friend. It's easier for me to understand that she's my sister, but she's not my friend. So talking about layers of friendships, and I don't think I intentionally have any boxes that I'm putting people in, right? But there are those people who I know, okay, she gets me. Oh, he gets me. We're on this journey together. And yet, I need to also understand, although we're on this journey together, Tim is not the place that I can go for certain types of conversations. If Tim is not, I'm going to say this, if Tim is not someone I can go to with soft conversations, Tim is a soldier. Come on! I can go to Tim for motivation and Tim, we're doing this thing.
I'm soft.
No, you're not.
I'm not soft too.
No, you're not.
Hey!
I can go to Tim with conversations on Africa and we can talk about religion in a very bold way. But I don't think, Tim, I'll come to you with a broken heart. What am I looking for?
I've also experienced broken hearts.
Yeah, but Tim will be like, hey, Era, but maybe you have a business to run, so this is not the time to be crying because maybe I think that's what I'll get from. But I'll have another friend that I may never go to with African conversations, but if I ever have a broken heart, that's the person who will comfort me, right? So I think that's the way it works in general in terms of what are the layers.
That is so true. I have some friends to where I remember I went back to the States and I was thinking like, I've been in Ghana like 5 years, and I was reflecting on like how many like really deep relationships have I developed with other men. Again, a part of it is me, because I've had some good friends tell me. They said, "Listen, Tim, you we want to be open like for you, but you were closed off." So a part of it is me.
Right.
I know myself.
Yeah.
I know myself. The Lord is still working on me. But I remember reflecting on relationships, and I asked you that question because when I think about the deepest relationships that I have, there's a profile. They are believers, because we can talk about and interrogate the scriptures together and the foundation from which we live our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships, problems, conflict, we come from a basis of what do the scriptures have to say about this. So that gives us a place of, connection. The other thing is some of the deepest relations, let me think about this. They're African American. I have some deep relationships with non-African Americans, but they're African Americans. And they are typically like not the guys who are like, I don't talk about feelings. They're guys who just exist as men. And I think about so there's a verse, Psalms 133:1. It says, "Oh, how good and pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity." And I remember one of the times I went back to the States, because I was like, man, first and foremost, I needed to go back to Black church. That's another conversation around God, religion, and God. We'll talk about that on another show. Jesus, the colonized, Jesus. We'll talk about that on another one. But I went back to Black church, and I was like, oh, thank you, God. And I remember having a conversation with a friend. Let me tell you something. After this conversation, when I say my soul was refreshed, it was like I felt like I had been like driving a car. There's no fuel in my tank. And like I went to fill up at the filling station. When I finished this just one conversation, and he had me outside in the cold, and I was like, you're used to this weather, I'm not, but we were talking for like hours, and I left and my soul was refreshed.
Why do you think it had to be someone back home? And even Tim, where is home for you? When I say home, what comes to mind first?
Home is more complex and diverse now. My family is in the States. My son has to know his family. I'm not one of those people like, I'm never going back there. No. You need to know where you're connected to. Like I can go back then they had segregated cemeteries. So I can go back to the used to be the colored cemetery and see.
Even in death.
Yes. So I can go back now in, I think it's Galls, Texas, right around where my family's from, where there's a colored cemetery where there's like great uncles Saul and Paul buried next to each other.
Right.
But all of that to say, home is different for me now. And then even answer your question about why did I have to go back home to get it? I think we talked about language, right? Because the truth is, even in Ghana, like Charlie, I don't speak the language. And even like the informal, like the pidgin, like that's the language where you really get like, like you can really express yourself.
Yeah.
So language is a very important part of it. And so even when I go back to the States, right, there's certain colloquialisms, there's a whole church culture too, right? So even those closest relationships, it's a church culture that we verses and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm from one of those churches, hand clapping, praising the Lord. The true holiness church, the Church of God in Christ. Amen.
Amen.
But it's that connection, because that's who I am. But it doesn't mean, like you said, that I don't have significant relationships with other folks. In fact, I have some good friends that are Ghanaian, that are white. Now I will say the white friends, I'm not gonna lie, the white friends that I have, deepest relationships, our Christianity is the thing that connects us. And the fact that they are very, very, very familiar with Black culture. They are immersed in Black culture.
Right.
That's the thing that makes it different too.
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But I think it can be difficult, and I think where we're trying to get to is helping people understand, like, you mentioned something so significant. Yes, I see you as my brother. Yes, I see you as my sister. But friendship is not warranted just because you're black.
No. You're my brother because my mother and my father had you together. Like there's blood. Friendships, I choose. I don't choose my siblings. But friendships, no, I choose. And if I have that understanding, then I can also choose. For me, friendships it's about values, right? Values and purpose and utility. I think friendships must be useful. I don't know if I can have friendships that are not useful. And useful does not always mean money or even doing business together, but that there's a certain exchange of value. And sometimes that value is understanding. Sometimes that value is support. Sometimes that value is humor. There are some friends of my friends because we share the best laughs together. Laughter, like if I see something that's funny, there's a particular friend that I'm probably turning around to say, did you catch that? Right? And that's value also. But friendships must be useful. I don't know how to be friends with people just because. You're an acquaintance in that case. Yeah, but
So what would you recommend? Let me say there's that person coming from, that's the Ghanaian that's been away for a while, coming back to Ghana. That's a person from the UK, a person from the US, they're coming to Ghana maybe the first time. And they're trying to contextualize friendships and all of that. You've been around the world and you're a Ghanaian through and through.
100%.
What would you tell that person, like if they're resettling here and they're really trying to develop those relationships? Where should they go? How can they go about, doing those things that you mentioned?
First of all, I think that you should go in knowing that the stereotypes exist. So as soon as you open your mouth and speak in a certain way, that someone will call you Obroni and someone will think that you are money bags and to expect it. Because once that's out of the way, then you're not offended by it. You know that that's about to happen. I would build my friendships around the things I value. So if I'm coming back home and I am Pan-African and I'm here because I want to help build a continent, I'm looking for spaces where certain types of conversations are had or spaces where those types of people are meeting, because most likely I'll connect with someone who believes in this thing that I believe in. If I'm all about entrepreneurship, then I'm looking for spaces where entrepreneurs gather. I believe in building friendships around values, but sometimes it just happens, right? And I think it's this thing that's said about when you're looking for love is when you don't find it. So if you come in and yes, you've traveled back home, so you're lonely, then you're coming from a place of scarcity and want, and you're desperate and everything. You're so tender and everything you're vulnerable. But to come in knowing, yes, you're coming back and you're quite the stranger. Imagine that it's like you're solo traveling, but this time into a place that you will call home eventually, and allow the friendships to happen without trying to force the connections where there are no connections and expecting that just because you're Ghanaian, you are people's friends. You are not.
So then what will you do now when all the guys are in your DM saying, oh, I just want to be your friend?
Oh, that's the funniest thing. You know what people say?
Because after this one, you're going to have guys in your DM saying, I just want to be your friend. I just want to be your friend.
I think that's a funny thing. The other funny thing I laugh about is when someone says, tell me all about yourself. I'm like, how? Like, where should I start from where I was born to where I'm going and my passions and my failures? Like, what kind of question is that? I can't tell you all about myself. If you're my DM saying, I just want to be my friend, that's such a turn off.
Someone would do it.
But I'm just telling this person, that's such a turn off. Like,
you'll get it. I'm warning you.
Friendships they don't happen that way. They don't happen because you said, it's like the same way love doesn't happen because love me. No. Because we need to, I need to know who you are and see where the connections are. But yeah, I think that maybe the most painful part for people trying to build connections here is the thought that this is happening only to you. This is my experience. Nobody's accepting me. They think I am Obroni. No, it's not you. They think everyone who speaks like you is Obroni.
In fact, I heard from a young lady, I think originally she's from Uganda or Kenya or somewhere, but she was living in Ghana. And this was one of the first times I heard someone say this. She said, developing relationships have been one of the most difficult things. And she's from,
And
Uganda.
probably looks like us.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But as soon as you open your mouth,
I don't know.
and I don't think it's just a Ghana thing.
No,
I think Ghana is one of the places where you should be able to make friends easily.
It's definitely different than, I'm sure, right? Listen,
There are places I've been to.
in the States where, let me tell you something, I think it's harder for, let me say, like a West African who is, I think it would be difficult for a person like, you, because you can meet a lot of black folks that are very like who you are. But I think that West African who is still with that colonized mindset, they'll just go straight to like the white communities. But even then, they don't know how to contextualize what's going on.
Yes.
And like, I've had many friends who've come from Ghana living in the States, and I tried to tell them like, it's a different culture, particularly like developing true relationships, to where it's normal for us to, if you're my neighbor, it can be 10, 15 years. I don't know you. Can you imagine? 15 years, you are living next to someone and you don't know the person's name. In fact, I had a friend who, they were living in a neighborhood where just opposite from their house, they were living in this place for 10 years. And they were robbed in the middle of the day. And when they got home, they said, we were robbed. And the person said, I thought that those were your friends. So that's how disconnected it can be.
Yeah.
So,
I think Ghana is one of the easiest places to build friendships, but still,
yeah,
it takes time.